Hey everyone, this is Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
And Victoria.
And you're watching episode 87, I think, of The Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast. That is, yes, episode 87. What are we doing today, Victoria?
We are starting off with our album 60 reviews.
Yes, finally. It has been a long time since album 60 came out on the Odyssey, and to be fair, also quite a while since it came out on the radio, because we're always behind, but we're catching up.
Yep. We were kind of ahead yet behind with this.
Yeah, these reviews were recorded 4 months ago now, I believe, so it'll be a bit of a blast from the past to see what we had to say way back when we were such different people. But we'll get to that in just a second. The only news item to give you guys right now is there is a new Imagination Station book which has been announced. It is coming out in October. It is called Trouble on the Orphan Train. It'll be book 18. I don't know exactly what an orphan train is, if it's a train for orphans, or if it's a train without any parents, or if it's a train that kills parents to create orphans.
I hope it's all of the above because it's Batman, like a Batman train. Because Batman takes in parents who become Robin, his parents were killed, and also he probably has killed the parents of people.
That's good.
Thank you.
Good point.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Trouble on the Orphan Train.
Trouble on the Batman Train.
And that's coming out in October. So one day we'll get around to that after we do the other 16 books betwixt.
Probably not.
Probably not. So until then, we'll get on to the review right now, starting with the premiere of album 60, Head Over Heels, Words from the Wise. And we're back now here. I'm dressed up as Haru from Free.
I'm dressed up as myself!
Because I just got back from a Anime Revolution winter.
I have a Death the Kid hat that I did so improperly. It's kind of funny.
So, we are starting album 60 now. Episode 783, Words from the Wise, written by Kathy Buchanan. What happens, Victoria?
So in this episode, Wooten and Penny go visit Penny's parents, not in Pennsylvania. That was interesting. So Wooten tries to act perfect for Penny's parents. Penny actually turns out to be a bit of a klutz and mess up.
Yeah, it was Pittsburgh, right?
Oh, yeah, it was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And so she tries to act perfectly, and then her parents end up thinking that Wooten's changed her, so they don't agree to their union. But at the end, it all works out, and they give their blessing. Yeah. Penny's family is not really what I expected, and also what I expected at the same time.
So, Victoria was dead on correct about the episode taking place in, not in Pennsylvania, but where her parents live.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious that she listened to the episode in advance.
No, I didn't.
Because you're like, I was like, it'll happen. You're like, I bet they're going to go there for that time to do that. And I was like,
yeah, it's because it was obvious. I never thought they wouldn't go there.
Okay.
Apparently it was obvious to everyone but you, Devin.
I was hoping
I did not listen to the episode in advance.
I was hoping we were going to get like a Wooten looks at smudged writing on hand joke. But we didn't. Nevertheless, we got a parental trivia quiz for Wooten, which is great because it gives us tons of trivia as fans. So, we learned lots about the Wise family in this episode, which can be summated as such. So, Penny's mom is named Eleanor, nicknamed Ellie. She's a hairdresser, which we knew. Her fave beverage is orange juice. She's a stickler for savings and bargains. She's very bitter about Penny not taking over the family business, and don't bring up police around her. Penny's dad is Frank. He's a steelworker, likes bacon, don't bring up cloud formations. They drive him crazy. Penny has a sister. What?
I never really thought about the fact that Penny could have siblings before this episode.
What is this, Ruby? Surprise sister. Her name's Charlotte. She is a medical research scientist, likes tofu, the favorite child. Do not bring up the Swansea Measles Epidemic, and is married to Dirk. For reference, I looked it up. It was kind of hard to figure out. I couldn't tell if she's saying Swan C, like the letter C, or if it was swan. Don't bring up swans, like the animal, and then like in parentheses, C, measles epidemic. And then I finally found it's Swansea, which is a town in Wales. So the Swansea Measles Epidemic took place in Swansea, Wales, and the surrounding areas, comprising of 1,455 measles cases from November 2012 to July 3rd, 2013, which was also Victoria's 16th birthday. And then Penny is engaged to Wooten, wears contacts, is uncomfortable around her family for obvious reasons, and uses big words around her parents because she knows that they favor Charlotte and her career over Penny's.
Charlotte reminded me of Maud from MLP.
All right.
Just like with all the facts and stuff. So like Wooten, he meets them. The first thing, like the last thing he's told basically is like, don't bring up the Swansea epidemic. And he like meets her family and he's just like, I'm pleased to meet all of you and I won't bring up the epidemic. And then her sister's just like, oh my gosh, the epidemic. And she starts like talking about it and Penny's like, what have you done? What have you done, Wooten? And I'm just like, good job, Wooten. 10 seconds in and...
So what did you think of Penny's family?
I don't know. My opinions kind of were like water. They just changed states throughout the entire listen through of the episode.
All right.
I think I'm leaning more towards the side of I like them, though. The last couple minutes with them and, like, talking to her were pretty sweet, so...
They were pretty harsh on her, like, regardless
they
of the
were.
end of the episode, like, it was like, and they're like, well, Charlotte, and Charlotte, and Charlotte.
Throughout the entire episode, I was just like, I want to like you people, but no. And then the last couple minutes, they turned out to not be so bad, so I was like, I think I'm okay with you guys.
Yeah. It took me a little bit to realize what was going on with Penny, because at first the big words, I thought she was just being Penny. But then around it was before she talked about how Charlotte was great at ambulating. It was a couple big words before that. She was like, they're like, do you want to go on a walk? And she's like, that would be great for us, cardiovascularly speaking. And that's when I was like, oh, she's trying to,
I never noticed.
She's using big words.
That's why I need to listen to the episode again.
Wooten was a great wingman, I thought, in the hair salon. Was getting his highlights. He was just like talking about
I didn't think Wooten would actually get highlights done. I want to know what it looks like. Were they blonde highlights?
I don't know. Also,
they described Wooten as a redhead. I never really thought about him being a redhead. I thought his hair was more brown than red.
I don't know. But it reminded me of, for the fun of it, when he got cornrows with Talia.
He just gets so much stuff with his hair done.
He does.
Whenever he meets relatives of anyone, they're like, your hair, we need to do something about it.
It's like when
what's wrong with it? And they're like, everything! And then they change his hair.
It's like when I go home and Bailey sees my hair.
It's like when you go home and I'm like, let me straighten your hair.
Yeah. I straightened it this time. Look how straight it is. This was the first time in a long time, somewhat long time, middle-ish time, that we've had mention of Burger World. Not since the Highest Stakes, I believe, when the Carsons went there after Grady's soccer game. What?
The episode with 30 J's Hath September.
You were right.
Yeah, Jay was singing the Burger World theme. I know, because I almost started singing the Burger World theme when you said it.
Very good, Victoria. That is much more recent.
I know my Jay episodes.
You do.
I know them. Can I be Jay #1 fan in the community?
I think you are.
I think I am too. I was thinking about that earlier today, and that fills me with happiness.
I called it absolutely new that Penny had not told her parents about the proposal yet at all. Totally called that in the album
had.
59 review.
So.
One for me.
Yeah, I thought she had.
Because of the first episode, she's like, ooh, I should tell my parents about this. And in the last episode, she's like, you need to get my parents' blessing. I was like, she probably hasn't told them yet at all. She never did. She's been waiting for Wooten to drop that bomb, and I was right.
She's probably waiting for Wooten to either confirm or deny before she wanted to tell anyone about it.
That's true.
She didn't want another Devin to be pulled.
Yeah, they are the worst. I mean, come on.
I can attest to that.
Speaking of the worst, they go to dinner at a French restaurant called Chez Bon. And I was like, I am so done with the French on this show. The fanciest French restaurant they could find is called Chez Bon. That's
You
like,
just look so disgusted.
like, how would you try it? Like, the house of good? The place of good? It's like, not setting the bar very high. In both as a descriptive name and as just a way of naming things.
I thought you were saying a way of life.
Oh, but I was so happy because I was so annoyed at Charlotte being like perfect and be like, well, I know this and I know this. Checkmate, Miss Perfect Charlotte, medical expert. Primate saliva contains thromboplastin, so sucking or licking on a wound will help induce clotting. We are specifically designed to operate that way, and the benefits of licking or sucking on a wound far outweigh the negligible worry of orally induced infection. So there. Mic drop.
Oh, you just got scienced.
Yeah. She's like, don't put your finger in your mouth. Do you know how many bacteria are in there? And I was like, we have I was like, that's... No, and I even Googled it to make sure, yes, we have dogs, cats, I think ungulates, and primates all have abundant amounts of thromboplastin, also known as tissue factor or clotting factor 3, in our saliva specifically so that we could lick or suck wounds in order to help them clot faster.
See, I knew that about dogs, but I didn't know if that was true about humans.
Yes, it is. It's true of all primates. So, yeah.
Okay.
I checked. I was
Whenever
right.
I have a cut, I call my dog. I'm like, lick it.
I was like,
heal me. Your healing saliva.
Well, you're thinking of antiseptic specifically, but dog saliva, not clotting agent.
Oh, darn it.
But, well, I mean, they have that too. They also have thromboplastin.
Whenever I'm really sick, I just hug my dog and I hope that, the healing properties will phase through her fur into my skin.
Yeah.
And get me better.
I also totally called it when Penny said the thing about how her parents put the painting in the back of her closet, and she's like, I know they must have hated it. There was something about the way it's worded that was like, I just know that her parents actually love the painting and they appreciate Penny, but they just show it in all the worst and most indirect ways, and they have some really cockamamie reason to put her painting in the back of the closet behind.
At least it wasn't like, it's so beautiful, it blinds us.
Exactly.
So we have to
and then I was
hide it from the world.
I was right. That's too.
I thought the reasoning for hiding the painting away was pretty good, but it could have been better.
I mean, at least they said they take it out when they're home, and then they put it away and then they're gone. But then how did Penny know that? Because when was Penny there when they weren't?
I was wondering. I don't know, she made it sound like they always kept it there, but then they're just like, we keep it there so thieves can't take it.
I mean, you would have seen it during this trip if they took it out while they were home.
Yeah, you would think that, I don't know, they wouldn't really be worried about thieves anymore. They didn't say how long ago the robberies happened. They made it sound like the robberies happened 10 years ago, and then they're just like, maybe the thieves are still around, so then they just...
Also, he's like, just in a couple years, it'll be worth $1 million because it's so good. And I was like, why would you care what it's worth? You're not going to sell it. It's a painting your daughter made of a picture from your wedding day.
That's going to make Penny feel even worse.
It's a picture from your wedding day made by your daughter. Why would it matter how much it's worth? You wouldn't sell it, I presume.
I hope not.
So,
was it for their anniversary?
I think so.
Okay.
So everything got resolved.
Because I don't think Penny was around while they were married.
Weren't married, you mean?
Yeah.
Or when they were...
no, I mean when they were married.
So the whole thing with her parents got resolved a lot faster than I'd expected.
I'm wondering how the whole thing with Wooten having secrets is gonna...
Yeah, I guess that's still to come.
...play in. I thought something like that was gonna pop up in this. It was gonna be resolved elsewhere, but everything was resolved in this episode.
Your fiancé is a criminal, and it would be like something old, something new again with Maureen and Mitch.
It'll be something like he stole a toy accidentally at Burger World.
The evidence is piling up against him.
He accidentally forgot to give them an extra penny or something like that.
And he has to trade in Penny Wise to pay the debt.
No. And Penny's like, I don't want to get married anymore if you're going to sell me for a Burger World meal toy. I don't blame her. Don't marry people who would do that.
That's true. She's worth at least 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Penny's parents were a lot better than Armitage and Millie. I'll tell you that much.
I like Armitage and Millie more.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't hate Wooten, at least.
I know, but, like, they were just, like, they were awful, but to an interesting degree, where it's like, I'm compelled by how awful they are, so I want more screen time for them.
I wasn't talking about their characters, I'm talking about as people.
Oh.
They're better people than Armitage and Millie.
I thought you were talking about his character. Yeah. Her parents are way nicer than Armitage and Millie are.
Armitage and Millie are probably more interesting characters, but Frank and Eleanor are a lot better people.
See, like, I have this scale where it's like, characters are wonderful people, so I really like them. But then, like, the exact opposite side of the scale is, like, they're the worst people ever, but they're just so intriguing in their awfulness that I love them, and they're one of my favorite characters. Like, Hitori Uzune from Hannibal, who murders everyone, and he's my favorite, and I have a cosplay of him. Going. Yeah, I was actually thinking of some other characters, but yeah.
The setup with the dog leash and the ring was real good. I was impressed with that little. Like,
at the end,
yeah.
With the I got so emotional at the end. I didn't tear up this time.
An impressive
but he pulled
setup.
up the ring, and I was just like freaking out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you got her a ring!" And he's like, "I got you a ring," and I'm like, "You got her a ring!" And I was screaming.
I was impressed with that little bit with Frank, like talking about how they'd replace this and that store in the mall with the jewelry store and the monogrammed dog leash place, and then Wooten's like, "I got a dog leash while the car's being fixed," and then it's like, surprise, it's a ring. Instead, I didn't actually get a monogrammed dog leash because we don't have a dog. Actually, I guess Wooten does have a dog in the Clubhouse magazines or something. Sam.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count. But I was reading like a book the other day, and one of my favorite couples in it got engaged, and I started crying, and I was like so happy. And it was like I listened to this episode the night before, so like feels train of weddings in series I like.
I feel like or I should also point out first, with regards to the proposal, that was definitely not a reenactment of the proposal.
No, it was not.
Because we heard the proposal.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. And he was like on his knee, and I was like, "You liar! You weren't on your knee. You're just trying to make it look good for a family."
And then he's like, "Pennywise," and I'm like, "Nope, this is not how it happened at all."
And it's like, okay, 100% accurate proposal compared to the last one. Go. First word gets it wrong.
Yeah. I was like, no, it was like, man, sucks my house burned down. I need to build a new one. Want to live with me? That's how it went the first time. But it was so much smoother than you play it off as. It was, but it's nothing like the way he showed it.
And he's like, you're going to have to, like, get a new house and change everything. And he's like, yeah, I will. She's like, it's going to be really difficult. And he's like, yeah, but it might be easier if you're there with me. And I was like, and then you turned on the camera. And then I was, like, crying. And you're just like, this is going to be hilarious for the viewers. And I was like, you're an awful person.
It's true. True story.
Then you uploaded it to YouTube because you're a jerk.
Because we have a podcast, yep. That's how it works. So I don't think that this album is going to be connected episode to episode like 59 was at all.
No. This one was too,
self-contained.
Yeah. It just wrapped everything up, so...
Yeah, and the next one's going to be...
Makes me wonder if they are going to stay in Pittsburgh.
I doubt it.
For the rest of it. I think they might go home now.
The next one's clearly going to be the Ava Parker bicycle one. The one after that is No Cause for Concern, which may be the Wooten mystery. What's going on?
I think it's the Jana one.
So, to the top. What are your final thoughts on this episode, Victoria?
I liked it. I need to listen to it again. I feel like I can't rate it fairly until I listen to it again. But
unfortunately, we're under time constraints.
Yeah. You rate first.
All right. Yes, it was a good episode. It was nice and self-contained. I was surprised it wrapped up as quickly as it did. It was great that we finally, we got a new city we've never been in before, and we got to meet Penny's parents, finally. We found out she had a sister. We got
a little bit more about Wooten's family.
Yeah, they were interesting characters, and they all had their little quirks and things about them. Presented nicely. I mean, it was... while it may be a little exposition-y, I guess, I really did like the fact that there was, that Wooten, run through these things, because it's nice, here's a bunch of random facts and trivia about these characters right off the bat.
But at the same time, it didn't feel like they made a show of the quirks in a weird way. What I'm saying is, they had quirks, but they weren't Shyamalan quirks kind of
exactly,
thing.
Yeah, because I was thinking of the Lady, the Water thing, but... Yeah, I mean, Ellie, for example, is very stringent about saving prices, but it's, so obviously fits in the character with, hard times falling on the hair salon and stuff like that, and also ties into the characterization of, the way they treat Penny in terms of, ways in the past that she's accidentally done things that have cost them more money, and how that's affected things because the budget is all the tighter for them.
Oh, the one part where they're just like, oh, if you get injured, the next one's on the house or something like that. I was like, you people are awful.
Yeah.
So, what's your rating?
I am gonna give it a 4.3.
Oh, that's what I was going to give it to.
Nice. I'm curious about why they chose the Swansea Measles Epidemic. I wonder if they just chose a random medical epidemic in recent history off of Wikipedia, or if there's a reason.
I don't know. Maybe the writers have a strong feelings towards it.
Maybe. I'll ask Kathy.
Maybe that was in Paul's notes that he left. He's like, address this. It annoys me.
We need to get the truth out. The media bias is there. It's real. Stay woke.
He's like, the public needs to know.
So, 4.3. I think.
I feel like
it's
that's
a theme
pretty fair
that
rating.
we've had before. Especially in Pink is Not My Color, for example. In terms of children feeling that they need to change the way they act to please their parents. In a broader, more general spectrum, the idea of people changing who they need to be in order to please other people in general fits the theme of a lot more episodes, such as, to go back to the beginning, A Change of Heart.
And also, what's it called? The one with Rusty and Sam and Edwin.
When bad isn't so good.
Yeah.
When good isn't so bad, sorry.
Good, bad, and the Edwin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, and Butch.
So, yeah. What do you think? Strong start to the album?
It was a good start, yeah. It's
stronger start than last album?
It's, First Things First was a good episode. The nice thing about for a premiere, it starts out introducing new characters, and not just random new characters, but new characters that we've wanted to hear from. And it's, it has, actual strong development in terms of the plot, the overall plot of the show, tying back to the last album and to the finale of the last album. So, in terms of a premiere, it's got all of those good things checked off.
I feel like it was...
Make it 4.5.
I don't know if I'd say it was stronger than First Things First.
4.4 is my final rating, yeah.
But I think that they both had a lot of good strengths as pilot episodes for the new album. So,
is that the end of your comments?
Yeah.
Alrighty then, we'll turn you over to our review of the next episode in this album, which is Cycle of Fear. And I'll do that right now. And we're back now, looking at episode 784, Cycle of Fear, written by Kathy Buchanan, who I should point out is the same person who wrote Blood, Sweat, and Fears. Just want to make sure everyone's aware of
That's interesting.
She wrote both of those episodes. What happens in this episode, Victoria?
So imagine Blood, Sweat, and Fears with one more fear than the two that they already had, and make one of them about bikes, one about public speaking again, and then one about something to do with tubas. I didn't really follow that. And then you get this episode, and they all overcome their fears, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start off learning about the fact that David is unaware that his wife is unable to ride a bike. They find out later they've been married for 15 years, so I thought that was a little odd that he doesn't know that about her.
Especially since everyone else rides a bike, and he bought a bike without consulting Ava.
Yeah.
It was weird.
We also learn about a new park, presumably in Odyssey, or very close to Odyssey, called Windmill Park.
I hope we get more of this park than we get of the, normal park. And it's just like a Hal's Diner, Wits End kind of thing.
I hope that Hal's Diner is to Wits End as Windmill Park is to McAllister Park now.
Exactly.
Maybe that's where Hal's Diner is. It's located right on the edge of Windmill Park.
It's just the anti-Wits End, anti-everything.
Oh, this is great. And then Dr. Blackguard's going to come back and run Hal's Diner from Windmill Park.
Oh my gosh, I need that to happen.
That would have been much more successful than Blackguard's Castle if you'd run Hal's Diner. It's true.
And they wouldn't have had to worry about, video game machines falling on people.
That also would have been a much better line in Red Herring when... is it Red Herring when they're asking about, is it Dairy Dream spying on us? If it had been, Hal's Diner spying on them.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Anyways,
except for, I don't think Hal's Diner was ever mentioned until Between You and Me.
It was mentioned once before that. Yes, it was, because someone corrected me in the comments. The first time it was mentioned was the end, was right before the first hiatus in It's a Wrap, when they're interviewing Whit after he gets back from Israel, and he's eating at Hal's Diner.
Yeah, then they should have mentioned it in Novacom. You guys have no excuse.
But it didn't appear between then and Novacom. That was the only time it was mentioned before then. Anyways, Wooten and Penny are still doing premarital counseling with the Parkers. So that's cool. It's no longer pre-premarital counseling now. They've upgraded a step. So I'm curious about if they're going to seek more formal premarital counseling as well, like with the pastor, or if they're just going to stick with the Parkers since they've already done that much.
I think they'll probably stick with the Parkers because they've gotten comfortable talking about their relationship with them.
I imagine so.
Are we at the part with the bike yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
So we learned that David and Ava have been married for 15 years, even though David thought it was 14. Good job.
Shame.
And then, we start to learn a little more about Ava's bike-associated traumas, which originated from Lucia pushing her down the hill and giving her, a broken arm and all sorts of terrible things. And
yeah,
Lucia...
Can I just talk about this for a minute? Okay, so I hated the beginning of this episode so much because, as I have said in previous episodes, I cannot ride a bike, and no one's ever given me crap about that. So in this episode, Ava's just like, oh yeah, I can't ride a bike, and everyone's just like, what? You can't ride a bike? And then they take out their crosses, and they're like, back, and stuff, and she's like, I don't see what the big deal is. And they're like, you are excommunicated from our family. Get out. The only way you can stay is if you learn how to ride a bike. And she's just like, why? And then she's like, just so you know, I was traumatized as a child. I was injured and I have realistic reasoning to not want to ride bikes. And I was just like, yeah, I wouldn't want to ride bikes either. And so then they're all just like, that's the lamest excuse that we've ever heard. You get on that bike right now, young lady. And they spend the whole episode just, forcing her to ride a bike. And I was just like, no.
I mean, to be fair, part of it spent forcing her to do it. And then after the point, they're like, you can give up if you want. She's like, no, I'm going to do this. It's not like she was reluctant the entire time.
Yeah, but for the entire first section, they were forcing her to.
Yeah.
And she's having, like, Vietnam flashbacks while they're forcing her to learn how to ride a bike, and
speaking of war
they won't
flashbacks,
stop.
this episode was very similar to Blood, Sweat, and Fears, as we pointed out.
Yeah, and, like, they even gave the same verses and stuff.
They talked about Moses, too, yeah.
They talked about Moses, and I was just like, stop reading the other script, go back to your own.
So that's why I was really surprised when I found out that Kathy Buchanan wrote both of these episodes. Because I was like, if someone else wrote it, like,
she woke up one morning
and didn't make that connection, but it's like, she wrote both of them.
She woke up one morning and she was like listening to Blood, Sweat, and Fears when she fell asleep or something. And she's like, oh man, I just had the best idea for an episode. I'm going to go write this. And then it has like the exact same thing. And she's just like, this is completely original. Do not steal. And little did she know she was stealing it from herself.
Yeah, self-plagiarism is the sincerest form of narcissism, I guess. I still wouldn't have ruled out the idea of still buying a horse or a motorcycle. Perhaps a quad or a dirt bike. I feel like those would have been, like, great for, like, their Parker Family Bike Squad. That would have been great.
Yeah, they're like, let's rule out a horse. I'm like, no, don't rule out the horse. You could always use a horse.
Yeah, what's Tom Riley doing with his horses nowadays, now that he's, like,
Leah
dead
and Rachel
or something?
and little Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's obviously not riding them anymore.
You say little what, sorry?
Little Joe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jacob and Rachel's favorite son, Ben.
I was thinking of Veggie Tales.
That's my favorite of Israel's children.
I was thinking of... I don't know.
Admittedly, I mean, actually... Oh, wow, I just realized now, I just sounded really stupid.
What?
Because Rachel and Jacob had two sons. One was Joseph and one was Benjamin.
Yeah! Ugh. Leave me alone.
Shame.
Leave me alone.
I've brought shame.
Leave me alone.
Yeah,
just high five myself on that one.
Darn it.
Ha ha ha.
At least
Who needs to read their Bible now, Devin?
At least I caught it. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, someone should really get Camilla to listen to A is for Attitude when she's like, just think positively and you can ride the bike. I'll stand beside you and come up with weird chants that sound insincere and I'll make you ride the bike. Yeah.
And then when she was just like, brake, you've got this, and she's just like, I'm gonna die. No one told me how to brake. I'm like, okay, one, why did none of you idiots not tell her how to brake?
In an earlier scene, they're like, David, before he got the kids to help, by the way, I like the idea of the chore-free month as an incentive to whoever could teach Ava to ride the bike. Before the kids even started to help, he said that she couldn't go because she kept on trying to pedal, but she kept on braking at the same time, and she wouldn't let go of the brakes.
That makes no sense then.
Yeah, I know. So she's like, I don't know how to stop. I'm like, apparently you wouldn't let go of the brakes earlier.
And I'm like, Camilla, stop chanting and try and figure out a way to help your mother. And then they almost killed her. She broke her arm or something like that. And then, as revenge, Camilla's arm was broken at the end.
Yes.
So,
that's
what she gets.
I believe...
Also, there's, like, this kind of, like, jammed-in lesson there about, like, not being too unafraid or something like that.
Well, we'll get there.
And, yeah.
So, I believe AIOO Wiki server is down right now, so I can't check to be sure, but I believe it sounds like this is the first episode that has Matthew's third voice, Justin Felbinger, who is replacing Gunnar Sizemore.
We should just get Zach back.
He definitely sounds younger, like a lot younger. He sounds like Zach from like the beginning of album 51 when he first appeared.
I'm assuming Matthew sounded weird in this episode.
I assume that's why they picked him. He sounds like Matthew less 5 years. So speaking of Matthew, he tries to give Ava training wheels, and she's like, "Oh no, I have so much dignity. I can't use training wheels here in the middle of the park. That would be embarrassing." And I was like, okay, one, why not use them if that's your only way to learn, if you're so determined? And two, you're already going like 2 feet and crashing and 2 feet and crashing. How much would training wheels affect your dignity more than that already?
This episode just was nonsensical.
We did learn, though, from that scene that Ava is 37, so there's some more trivia. And combining it with the earlier trivia, we know that she got married when she was 22. Plus or minus a year, given time for anniversaries or birthdays, I guess.
What was I gonna say? What was up with Olivia in this episode? What was that?
What, with the tubas?
Yeah. Was she... I thought at first, like, she was scared of acting in front of people, but then tubas, like, were being brought in, and she started, like, having a panic attack, and I was like, what am I listening to?
Yeah, apparently she fell off the stage and got her arm stuck in a tuba, and now she's scared of tubas.
That's dumb.
I guess there's less rational fears out there, but there's certainly more rational ones.
I feel like it could have been something more sensible.
Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of connections to Blood, Sweat, and Fears. One thing about it, I guess, that, you know, they tried to diversify it a bit was with Olivia, then she sort of overcame her fear, I guess, but she didn't get the thing that she was intending to do, but she did, you know, get a different path, not what she intended on, but a better path. So in terms of, you know, in terms of the sub-themes in both episodes of, like, if this is what God's calling you to do, then you have to do it. You don't want to miss out on these things. Like with Moses. Don't be afraid.
Like with Moses.
That, you know, Olivia powered through her fear, and she did the thing, and she didn't end up where she thought she was going to be, but she still did end up in an even better place, because she ended up as stage manager, which was apparently a better place for her in this place and time.
They also had the thing with Camilla, which they didn't have in Blood, Sweat, and Fears, although I feel like they could have cut it from this episode. I get that they were trying to talk about, like, different aspects of fear, but it just kind of felt like thrown in there for motivation. It was basically, they turned her into a tool in the last act.
Yeah, it was really the only novel thing in this episode was the bit with Camilla, where they were like, if you cave into peer pressure because people are calling you cowardly, then you're not actually being brave. You are being cowardly because you're acting out of fear of what people will think of you, not overcoming the fear of what they're trying to get you to do.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like it could have been done like better, that aspect of it.
Should have been more set up or anything towards that.
I mean, they did mention her rollerblading earlier in the episode, but I feel like they could have done more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. The school is a tuba quintet. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Like, really weird.
Yeah, it is.
Victoria, darn it, was absolutely right with the album art in the fact that wearing winter jackets and earmuffs doesn't necessarily mean that it's cold outside, surprisingly. I was like, it's obviously cold outside.
I get another point for calling something. I'm beating you so much.
When you're looking at the album art in the predictions episode, I was like, clearly it's cold outside. She's wearing earmuffs and a big puffy winter jacket, and you're like, maybe not. Maybe she's wearing it for another reason. And I was like, that's true. I guess we can't assume.
I was kidding when I said that,
yeah,
but I was totally right.
I know you were. They did sadly
Doesn't that just bother you so much, though, when I make a joke, but I turn out to be right and you turn out to be wrong?
Sadly, they left the safety goggles out of the album art, but they included the other two elements.
I feel like safety goggles would just be a really bad idea because they kind of obscure your vision a little bit in some cases.
Didn't stop her from wearing them. I really liked how they played the dramatic sports moment music when Ava started biking, like music they have. What is it? It's like the defining moment or something like that, where it's like
the final countdown.
Sorry?
Final countdown.
It's not anything like the final countdown. That's no. Victoria? So in the end, Ava finally learns how to ride a bike because Camilla gets hurt and she has to get there fast, and so she has to ride the bike. I suppose it makes sense that parental adrenaline response would be the best way to motivate Ava into learning to ride. So, makes sense, I guess.
I don't know, I think it would have been more realistic if she crashed at least once on her way to Camilla.
I mean, I don't know. She knows the theory of it, and once you actually get momentum, then you should be fine, because momentum is what keeps the bike from crashing.
Yeah.
So, that's the episode. As you can tell from our tones, you know, we weren't, like, dazzled by it, per se.
The part with Matthew at the end wasn't too bad, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, like, the episodes where it goes with, like, George Barkley going on stage at the church and, like, you know, preaching a sermon relevant to what happened to the Barkleys.
Yeah. This episode wasn't that great.
If it hadn't rehashed, you know, Blood, Sweat, and Fear so strongly, especially since, even though from the perspective of Oddcast episodes in order it was a while ago, but from our personal perspectives, we reviewed Blood, Sweat, and Fears yesterday. So, yeah.
Yeah, and right before we reviewed Blood, Sweat, and Fears, we reviewed Take On Trust, which also rehashed, like, 6 episodes at once.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, so I feel like this episode, it was just far too similar to Blood, Sweat, and Fears. It didn't really have a lot of novel stuff. It was the same themes represented through the same plot and even through the same biblical example. So
even through the same verses.
No, well, I mean, they didn't talk about Joshua, did they? In Blood, Sweat, and Fears? No, so it wasn't the same verses.
Close, though.
No.
They used the same example as Moses.
Yes, which I already said.
And the speech was very similar.
Yeah, it was. So, all that was similar, so that would have been nice to change. And I feel like just it would have been better, say, as an OAC episode, maybe, than one that's in the album.
Yeah.
I guess there was mention of Penny and Wooten counseling and stuff, so there's that connection at least. But other than that, it was pretty standalone, and, you know, I love Ava. She's, like, my favorite out of the Parkers. But, yeah, I'll give it 2.5 out of 5.
I like that. I can never say how much I like the fact that Ava's a nurse, because it's so useful and stuff. And when Matthew came over, he's like, Camilla's hurt. And she's like, oh, I need my defibrillator. And then she, like, rides off into the sunset to save her daughter. And I was like, you go get her, Ava, and stuff. I feel like the part at the beginning was way too over the top with the reactions to her not knowing how to ride a bike. What do you think, Devin?
Wasn't that over the top. I mean, it's not, like, life-shatteringly incredulous, but
yeah,
it is,
but, like,
it's odd. It is bizarre for someone who's 37 to not know how to ride a bike.
Yeah, but, like, my reaction would kind of be like, oh, you don't know how to ride a bike? I didn't know that. But they're, like,
yeah, but that's different because
and
you also
freaking
can't
out.
ride a bike.
Yeah, I know, but I mean just in general. If I did know how to ride a bike, I'd be like, oh, really? And then they're like, once you learn, you never forget. I'm like, that's not true. I've learned like 3 times. So, I don't know how to do it. Bikes are dumb.
I like bikes.
2 out of 5.
2.5 for me, so. I guess that's the end of this episode. We'll cut to a more timely relevant Devin and Victoria to close out the episode, because they will know what is happening in the next episode, whereas we do not. So we'll
It's a mystery.
Right now. And we're back now. So, man, can you believe all those things we said way back when?
I can't remember what I said. I remember complaining about, what's her face? The
bike riding?
Crazy lady.
Yeah.
Wooten's neighbor.
Mrs. Kramer's not in these episodes.
Oh. I probably complained about her anyway.
Probably.
Yeah.
You're thinking of album 59, Victoria.
Yes, I am. It's been a long time. This was the one with Penny's parents.
Yes, it was. Yes. And the one about biking with Ava.
I didn't like that one.
Bicycle. So that has been that has been this time. Next time, as you may guess, we are talking about the next 2 episodes in the album, which are, I have to think about it.
Dinner Role Models is one of them.
Nope, that's also in album 59.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The next 2 episodes are No Cause for Concern
and
the case of the ball cap hero.
Oh, because my guess was I was thinking not Out of the Woods, because that was episode 5.
That's also album 59.
I don't.
It all blurs together. Honestly, we're so old now. Oh goodness, yes. No Cause
you
for
did this to
Concern.
me.
No Cause for Concern and the Case of the Ball Cap Hero is what we're talking about next time. Until then, thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. I've been Devin Francis.
And I can't remember what No Cause for Concern is about.
And you've been watching... It's like your favorite episode. You've been watching the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast.
Wait, Goodbye. No Cause for Concern? I can't... What happens in that one?
Goodbye.
Bye.
That's the way.
Oh, holy crap, I love that episode! Can I turn this off now?